Hello, welcome to the Iron Orchid Designs Facebook page. My name is Shannon Stefanacci and I am from Pick and Boots Vintage down in sunny Southwest Florida. Though today, looking outside is not that sunny, but I think it's maybe 70 degrees, so I cannot complain because I know where some of you all are, it is really cold. If somebody could just drop something in the comments to make sure that I am live and I am in the right place before I get started, because we have a lot to do today. We are going to create two different Valentine book stacks, and they are going to be complete opposites of what we're going, of the different styles. Everybody has a different style, and I just wanted to touch on both because there are several different ways how to do a book stack. Okay, I don't see anybody on yet. I hope I am in the right place. So let's see. Normally I have somebody here to help to double check that I'm on the right page, but she is not here. So anyway, if you are here, please just give me a hello, where are you from? And, or maybe nobody's on. There we go. Hi, Nancy. Thank you. You're the first person I saw. I appreciate that. That means I am in the right place and we can get started. So everybody's familiar, I'm sure, with book stacks. They're very common. You can use them for any holiday. Hey, Pat, Illinois, that's where I'm from. There are several different ways you can make a book stack. You can make a book stack out of old books that you've torn the covers off of, repurposing them, or you can take some the wood and cut them, and they will mimic a book stack. So today what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun with, we're going to start with old books that I've torn the covers off. I'm doing two projects because I generally work kind of fast and I want to make sure that I'm on for a while. So let me go ahead and split my screen real quick. That way you can see what I'm doing. Here is a book stack that I have, and I just have it held together right now by Twine. You can you can hot glue it. You don't even have to do anything. You can just tie it together like I have it here. So we're going to get started here. Now, I'm big on the transfers. I use transfers a lot, but when you're using transfers, especially on furniture, you always seem to have leftover pieces. Like I have this one right here. This is from the Floral Anthology transfer. So this is just such a beautiful, rich red color flower with some greenery on it. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna put that on here. And then we're gonna use my favorite mold, the Harper, and we're going to cut out we're going to use some air dry clay and make some words, and then we're going to dress it up with some greenery and different things and gilding wax. So let's get started on this one. And then after we do this book stack, we're going to do the wood book stack. I just want to show you your options because there are different ways you can do it. So we are going to put this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and slide my twine over just a tad. And the twine is decorative, but right now it's actually working for me. It is actually holding my books together. All right, so with every, another Illinois. Wow, everybody's from Illinois. Awesome. I'm a Midwest girl myself. I grew up just north of Chicago in Gurnee. Okay, so here's the stick that they give you when you get a transfer. So I'm going to just cut my transfer down just a little bit because there is an extra piece on here that I don't need. So I'm just going to cut that down because I'm going to save that. I'll probably use it for something else. And now these books, because when you rip off the spine, it's a little bit rough. This was painted just to get rid of the color of the book pages. So I'm just going to kind of squeeze these together and then put my flower basically right where I want it. Now, I've never tried this before on the book stack like this, so I'm hoping that it works pretty good. The transfers are really good, and they stick to most everything, so I am pretty confident this is going to be just fine. as I'm rubbing, you can see where it's a little bit more translucent here than here. That means it's rubbed and it's on and it has released from the paper, which is great. That is our goal. All right, let me just finish. Now part of it does wrap around the bottom of the book, so I'm just gonna wrap it around and rub it on here. Make sure I get the rest. Now when I release and lift, this should all be right on the edge of this. There we go. Ta-da! Look how cute that looks. Now these again are real books, and what we did was just took the spine and the cover is off, and then we put some twine around it. Now I'm going to slide this twine back down because this is where the twine is actually going to go. It's going to kind of cover part of the flower because we're going to be adding a little bit more. So I can play with that in a minute, but for right now it's just going to hold these books together because now we're going to add, let's see if I can, I might just have to set it down. Let's see, oh I know, I can lean it up against my glue gun. How's that? All right, here we have my favorite mold, the Harper Mold. I use this one a lot. And I'm going to be using the IOD Air Dry Clay. Now I always keep them in a Ziploc bag, but sometimes it has dried out before, so what I've learned to do is I just take a wet paper towel and I stick it in the Ziploc bag, and it helps keep moisture in with the clay. So I've learned that. I learned it the hard way because my clay is dried out because maybe the Ziploc bag wasn't closed all the way. But just by simply adding a wet paper towel, it really helps. Anybody else out there do that? If you don't, it's a good tip. It really works. All right, so for this one, I wanted to say be mine. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my letters. Now, sometimes I use the cornstarch. Sometimes I don't. It just depends. Most of these letters pop up pretty good. I definitely do use it on the E because the E has a really thin part right here. And I want to make sure I pop it out and it doesn't rip. Another good tip is if you put your clay in a mold, you can't get it out, you're worried that it's gonna rip. If you just stick it in the freezer for a few minutes, it hardens it up just a tad, and it'll pop right out. Okay, so B, E, oh wait, I'm gonna dust this. Okay, so on this one, I'm putting Be Mine, and with Valentine's Day coming up, that's where we're making Valentine's Day stacks. There are so many different sayings that you could use. Does anybody else have a good idea of what, if they were making a book stack, what they would put? I like the one that says hugs and kisses. Oh, thanks, Martha. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so B, I'm going to pop my B and my E out. And I'm just pushing through the back up. Let me just... And if you push it out slow, it should just come out just fine. Now this one has a little bit of cornstarch, so it should pop out a little easier. So just pushing through the back. You see that? And I'm just lightly going to roll it out. And there we go. There's my E. Now, because it's still wet, not dry yet, I can kind of form it to where I need to. All right, so I'm going to put these just down for a second. My B, while I create my last word. It's going to be mine. So here we go with the M. What I really love about these molds is the new styles have the lip on it, which makes it super easy to get a nice clean finish on whatever letter or there we go, whatever letter or design you are using. Here's the I. I am going to dust just the dot of the I just a little bit because it's just such a little guy and I want to make sure I get him out and not. I pulled him out before and I totally oops, mangled him a little bit, so we don't want that. Okay. I, M-I-N, now we go N. One thing about the clay is when you're using the clay, you should always use a piece of clay, not pieces of clay. Because if you use pieces of clay put together, that's where it tends to crack. And when your clay dries, you don't really want any cracks. Okay, M-I-N, now we need the E again, so I'm gonna make sure it's all one. I'm gonna dust the E, just because it's got that really thin part right there. And I'm just simply pushing down, and with that lip that is on the edge of these letters, they just form so easily and so precise without having a lot of fuss. All right, so now let me pop out mine. So let's start over here with the I, because that's the furthest one. Again, I'm just popping them out by applying pressure through the back and then rolling it out on the front. Now the E, I'm going to actually I'm going to start at the top this time and see if that works. Pushing through the back, gently rolling it out. Woo. Go back this way. There we go. This one didn't pop out quite as easily as the last E, but he's still all intact. I'm going to push this out of the way. Now the N and the M. There's the N and the M. Woo, there we go. Woo. I kind of stretched the M just a little bit because when I was rolling it out, it got stuck, but that's okay. I'm just going to reform it real quick. That's another reason why it's really good. It's a good idea to put these on when they are still wet, because you can mold them and bend them back to where they need to go. If you let them dry in the mold, sometimes they can bend, but this way it'll stick to whatever your surface is. So I'm just going to use a little bit of, yes, I did share. I just ripped off the book bindings and then I painted the edge. I'm going to use some regular wood glue, put it over here so you can see, and I'm going to just lightly apply it to my letters. And I'll just take my finger and now I just need to see where I'm going to put it. Let's see, wait, right here. I'm going to put the B up here. I am kind of overlapping on these two books, which is fine. It doesn't have to stay on just that book. It's your choice, it's your book, but I'm choosing it to be like this. And okay, stay right there. Now let me get the E for B. Do the same thing, a little bit of glue. Some people will like to use a little paintbrush. I like to use my fingers because I feel like I have a little bit more control. And we're going to stick that on right here. Oops. There we go, B. Now, my hands are a little sticky, so I'm just going to get the glue off. Oh, yes, I just used, let me put the cap on. I just used some cornstarch. You can use cornstarch or baby powder, but this is what I dust the mold with. Now we're going to do mine. All right, so I kind of brutally, and I can't fix my M, so I'm just going to make a new one real quick. It's really easy and fast just to do it. And I want it to be cute. I don't want it to have a deformed M, so I'm just going to do a new one real quick. And this time I'm going to dust with just a little bit of the cornstarch just to make sure it pops out fine for me. I don't want to have to get up, put it in the freezer, and make you guys wait, so. See how nicely that forms with that little lip. Just gives you a nice clean edge. Okay, so I'm going to push from the bottom and let it roll out. And then I'm going to flip it to the other side of the M. And voila. This one's way better. See that? So this one is I'm going to use. Put a little glue on him. If I knew the exact outline of my letter, I probably would put it right on the book stack, but I don't. So let's put the M on. Let me get my glasses so I can see a little bit better. There you go. Let's see, do I want it? I want it to line up. I want the B and the M to be aligned. So I'm going to get that on there. I'm going to give it a nice little push just to make sure it adheres with the glue. Ta-da! All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the rest of the letters on. And I'm not going to forget the little I, the dot. I will just put a little glue up there though because, oops. For me to try to put some glue on that little teeny I and get it on there, I think it'll be stuck to my fingers. There we go. Now the M. Go. And finally the E. Again, this E is a little thin right in there, but I'm just being very careful. Wipe my fingers off. There we go. So this is so far what it looks like. Be mine. Now we're not quite finished yet. I'm just going to manipulate them just a little bit. I'm using this end of my paintbrush because my fingers have glue on them and they tend to stick to the letters. So I just want to use something. There we go. Something that they're not going to pull off. All right, now look how cute this is. However, we're not done. We are going to add something else to this. Let me just move my glue gun here to hold it up. Clean up my little mess here. I'm used to crafting standing up and I'm sitting today, so it's a little bit weird for me to sit. I'm not a sitter, but okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use some gilding wax. You can use whatever brand, whatever kind you like, or you can even use just a little bit of paint. Now, I like the look of it because I like the red and I like the white of the book stack, and we're going to be adding some green to it to finish it off. So I want to kind of keep it not so bright. So I'm going to use some gold. I'm just going to dip my finger in the gold gilding, and I'm going to lightly trace the letters, just to give it a little bit of character, color. Now, I'm not worrying about the sides because I like the look of just the top being dusted with it. As I'm looking at the camera, you really can't see how pretty it is on the camera. I will be taking pictures afterwards, of course, and posting them, but the gilding wax just adds so much to it. Kind of makes it a little bit fancier. I am being careful that I don't push too hard because the glue is still wet and I don't want to move my letters. You can use whatever color gilding wax you like. I know it comes in a variety of colors. I'm partial to the gold. The The copper is beautiful too. Oops, I'm moving my E. Okay, I'm gonna look at it real carefully. Be mine. All right. Finally, I'm just going to put a little green here. And I wanted to show you, I'm going to hold this up. I don't want the letters to fall off, but if they do, I'll just glue them back on. Oh, actually, let's do it like this. So here we go. Let me move it over here. Ta-da! So this you can just sit on a table, your shelf, wherever you want. But look how cute it came out. This I will hot glue on. I just don't know exactly where I'm going to put it yet. So, but look, ta-da! Maybe just even on the top, maybe shorten it down. What do you think? So this is the first book stack that we make today. This one is with, if you're just coming on, with real books that we tore the covers off. I know we broke the books, sorry. Then we painted the spine, and then we just added a transfer from the Floral Anthology, some of the Harper letters, Twine, and voila, you have a cute, more monochromatic Valentine, because not everybody is into the hot pinks and the reds, the bright colors. So this is one option for you. But now we go to the brighter option for the others. I'm gonna put that right here. And I'm gonna do a little cleaning up real quick so I don't get the mess on my next project. I also want to put my air dry clay away, and don't forget to put your air dry clay with a wet paper towel to keep your clay moist. It doesn't have to touch the clay, it should just be in there with your clay. So that's a good tip. All right, now here comes the brightness. So here's some other book stack, a different one. Now these are made out of just, they're 2x8, they're pieces of wood that I've already pre-painted to save time. I have it in pink, red, and white. The books are not glued together, but I highly recommend doing that. When I do this one, I am going to glue them together. I have not glued them together yet because we're going to do one at a time because of how we're putting the words on. Now you're probably thinking I'm going to put Be My Valentine, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do, I wrote it down, here it is. We're going to do Valentine Kisses, 25 cents. I thought it'd be a little bit different to put a different saying on there. So now you're probably thinking I'm going to stamp the words on, but no, we're not going to stamp. I do love the stamps, and I'm not supposed to say this probably, but there really isn't a small stamp yet, but there may or may not be a smaller stamp coming. I don't know, I know nothing. Anyway, if you are familiar with the Exploration transfer, it has a bunch of hot air balloons and like steampunk gadgets and airplanes and trains. Well, on there, you also get all these different letters that are transfers that you can cut out and rub on. So that is what we're going to use today. So here they are. I've used these before on different little, they were little wood sticks, not wood sticks, they were blocks. So we put like boo and different things for the fall. But now we're back at it and we're doing Valentine. So we said we were going to do Valentine Kisses. So I'm going to start with the pink, and we're going to just put Valentine on here. So we're going to have to cut these out. So we're going to do this and start with the V. And I'm just going to stack them up here, V. Now I used the capital letter, the big V, so for the rest though I'm going to use the lowercase. A. Now I'm out of the L's, but I noticed that the 1 looks just like an L, so I'm going to snatch my 1 and use that as an L. So Val, E. When I do this, I try to cut where I'm not cutting apart everything, so most of the letters still stay attached as best as I can. And T. I. So if you know anybody that might like this project, make sure you share it with them. If you notice, I'm doing two totally different styles, yet the same idea, the book stack. I just like to be able to show the different styles because not everybody has the same style for decoration. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to line these up, or at least it's the way that I line them up. Now remember, most of the time book stacks are generally stamped and they're not straight, and they don't have to be straight. If you're a perfectionist, oof, it might take you a little bit longer than it's going to take me. I'm more of an eyeball kind of girl. Valentine Kisses. So we're going to start with Valentine, and then the next one's going to be Kisses, which I need a capital K. So many different sayings you can use, like, oops, hugs and kisses. What else? Anybody have any ideas? I wrote some down. Where did I put it? Here we go. Let me see. Love never fails. Love you more. Anybody else have any ideas? I missed an N. Val and oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Because you know when you're live, you get a little not, I don't want to say nervous, but that would not have been good to have started to rub these transfers on and misspell Valentine. Okay, thank you for that. Now back to the I for kiss. Kisses. And the I. Now I need a bunch of S's. 3 S's. And an E. Oh, and I just have one E left. Perfect. Cut that up. All right, stick that to the side. Okay, have I forgotten any other letters? Anybody out there? Kiss. Oops. Uh-oh. No. Oh, he's jumping around on me. All right, Valentine Kisses. Valentine Kisses. Whew. A little hot in here. Oh, and 25 cents. Let me do that real quick too. Now there's 2 different size letters. I mean numbers. So I like the big one. So we're gonna do the big one. 25 cents. So the 2 and the 5 coming off. 5. Now there's not a cent. I could take a C and then put a 1 through it, but instead I'm just going to use, they have little periods here, so I'm just going to take one of these off and use that to show that it's 25 cents. Okay. Whew. All my letters are cut out. So I'm going to start with the pink. I'm going to keep my stack pink, red, then white. So we're going to go with pink. And so we're going to put Valentine's Day on, or Valentine's on it. So I'm going to take the V, A, L, and I'm spreading them out just a little bit. Now these will not be exactly straight, but they're going to be as straight as I am going, as straight as I can get them. I could take out my my little mat that has a grid on it, but I'm not going to do that. Valentine. Thank you again for reminding me I needed an N. Tyne. And the I. N. Okay, so I could either rub these on one by one, or what I've learned to do, yeah, it's not perfectly straight, but it's gonna, oop. It's gonna be straight enough. Hold on, the end is kind of big. Let's see, I'm looking at the camera. Okay, so the end needs to come down just a tad and the E. There we go. So I have it pretty much straight enough for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some clear tape and I'm going to line it up and cross this. This will hold all my letters exactly the way I have just laid them down. So I have my tape. See my tape? And I'm just going to put it on top, rub it on, and then pick it up, hopefully. So now it is all attached in one. The only thing I need to do is remove the backing of all the letters, so the white part, and I need to be careful that I don't touch the letter transfers on anything until I'm ready to stick it on my book. So there we go. So I took those off. So now my transfer is ready with the tape. Now, as I'm holding it up, I'm looking at it and it's certainly not straight. Great tip in there. Oh yeah, it works really good. Hey, Joanne. They're not perfect, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to stick it on here. And I'm going to kind of line all of them up on the edge. So let me see. I'm going to put this up better here. Valentine. And now I'm just going to lightly press. And you can see that, no, my letters are not perfect. And that's okay. Because like I said, most people stamp these. And when they stamp, they're not straight. So now I can take my little transfer tool and rub these on. Oops. Now when you're picking up, if part of the letters don't stick, just set it back down, give it another rub, and carry on. I like to kind of release as I'm picking up. I pick up a little bit and then I rub and it just seems to release. And I can also monitor when I'm picking it up. I can see immediately if something's not sticking. And that way I don't have to waste so much time rubbing areas that are already on. You do definitely want to make sure that your chalk paint is, or whatever paint you use, is dry before you do this, because I've done it. Don't learn from my mistake that I didn't wait long enough for it to dry. And when I was removing and picking this up, the paint came with the transfer. The transfer did not adhere. So you want to make sure to give your paint ample time to dry. Normally in Florida, what I do is I just stick it outside real quick and it gets hot and dry really fast. Okay, so there we have Valentine. So that's the first part of the book stack. We'll put that over here. Next one is going to be Kisses. So let me get that lined up. Okay. Let me get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to try to do this one a little bit straighter, but since the first one wasn't that straight, I really don't want it to be as straight because I want it to look kind of uneven so it matches the top. Like I intentionally did that. K-I-S-S, E, this paper. I need to turn it back this way. Now, right here, this white is too thick here, so I'm just going to take my scissors and cut that little piece off so when I put the E on, it's not stuck so far away from the S. I don't want it to actually rub onto the plastic of the other one. And the final S. Valentine Kisses. Okay, so that looks, you know, as straight as the other one did. Grab my tape. Oops. And gently set it down on my letters. Give it a rub. Pick it up. Whoops. Now I'm just going to take the white off the paper area. And this part is going to go on the white one. I'm going to line it up the same way on the edge like I did with the Valentine. Let's see, how's that? Yeah, this one's, the S is really crooked. Let me see if I can, no, it's on there. That's okay. We have happy kisses. They're jumping all over the place. Okay, so I'm just going to push this down on here, grab my rubber, my transfer tool, give it a once over. Okay, so I'm going to rub and release at the same time. So now we've created, we're in the middle of creating our second book stack, but what is more your style? The first one we did, the real books with some more neutral, natural colors, or the wood block and the brighter colors. If you were making one, what style would you make? I'm just curious. I'm one of those, I make it all. I just like to create. But I do like the first one. I like the aesthetic better. Okay, and the final S. Oh, little piece doesn't want to rub on. Let me get it. There we go. So there we have kisses. So now we have Valentine Kisses so far. Ta-da! Cute. And now we're going to do the last part, which is the 25 cents. Let me line that up. Of course, you can make it whatever amount of money you want. 25. Here's my tape. Okay. Pick them up. Remove the backing and line it up here. Give it a nice rub. This one's coming off really easy. There we go, 25 cents. Now, this is what it looks like so far. Ta-da, Valentine Kisses, 25 cents. But before we move on, I'm going to grab my ink pad. This has this color, I think this one has stone in it, either the stone or the black. It's the stone. What I want to do is I just want to, I'm not going to add any more ink to it because I don't want a lot of ink. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to lightly just go around the edges and give it a little bit of dimension. See what that did? It just adds a little bit to it. Not much, just a little. So there's the Valentine. Now here's the kisses. I'll go a little slower on this one in case you missed that. So you see how bright it is? There's really no dimension, but just take your stamp pad. Yes, I would definitely top coat these. Just give it one coat of whatever kind of brand top coat you use, and that'll make sure that they stay on. I'm just going to take my ink pad and just lightly, whoop, Ta-da. And it just adds a little to it. I did not re-ink it because I knew that there was plenty of ink on there. If I would have re-inked it, I may have gotten a little bit too much, and that is not the look I'm going for in here. You'll notice that this color kind of ties in to the color of the letters. You don't see it quite as vividly on, let me turn that around, on the red, but you also don't see those as much on the red too. And I can even add a little bit like that. So what it does, it just gives a little bit more dimension. So look at that now. See the difference? Just the little bit of that ink just makes the book stack look just so much prettier. All right, so now is the fun part. I'm not going to clear coat right now. I'm going to go back and clear coat the transfer. I'm just not going to do it on camera just because it'll take dry time and I don't want to keep y'all too long. All right, because we've already been on for 41 minutes. Whew. So I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and I'm just going to glue the book stack together. I don't think it needs that much. There we go. Ta-da. Now the fun part is actually decorating it. So I have a bunch of ribbon. I have some, what's this stuff called? Raffia. And then I even have like a little tag. So if you wanted to give this to somebody, you could write something on there like, to my loving husband. Just kidding. Or whatever, if you wanted to give it to whomever. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this ribbon. I'm going to put a little bit of glue. 1, 2, 3. And I'm only doing the glue because I don't want the ribbon to slip. So I'm going to put that here. And this ribbon has the wire in it, so it kind of, I kind of like the ruffle look. And to give it a little bit more glue. Oops, I'm going to make sure that's straight. Push that down. I'm not going to glue the bottom because the bottom is not going anywhere. Glue the back. I'll cut off the excess ribbon. Oops, I just shook the camera. Sorry about that. Just gonna tuck this under real quick. The book stack. This glue gun, ow, is really, really hot. There we have it. So here is this book stack, and I could still add more decorations to it. You know, it's whatever you want to do. You want to add a little tag hanging down. You want to add some of the raffia. You can decorate it. I just basically wanted to show you what you could do. So let me put these two side by side. Put a little greenery up here because the greenery is so pretty. So we have the two different book stacks. And they are very different, yet they are both beautiful in their own right. What do you think? Do you love them? Okay, so I'll be putting these pictures definitely on my Facebook page. If you don't follow me already, Pick It Blues Vintage, jump over and follow me on Facebook. I am on IOD page the 1st and 3rd Monday at noon Eastern time every month. And always creating something fun. I will put pictures in the, oh good, I'm glad you like the polka dots. I'll put the pictures in the comments so you can see the final of these book stacks. Oh, thanks, Sandy. Yeah, they're different and yet they're still so cute each, right? I really think though that adding on this, the ink pad, adding just some shadow really takes down the brightness of it. But you know, you don't have to do that. If you make a book stack, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so anyway, I'm Shannon with Pick and Booth Vintage, and I want to say thank you for joining me today on the Iron Orchid Designs page, and I hope you all have a fabulous week. Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks.